pledge to ensure peace and preserve the stability of our dear nation, Ghana. Elections are about counting heads and not cutting heads, and so we'll work together towards peaceful elections. I urge the security agencies, voters, and all stakeholders to ensure law and order. We expect to see all security personnel behave professionally, all those deployed for elections to be in uniform with visible name tags and service numbers. Let us strive to prevent the violence of the past, particularly as witnessed in early 2019 during the Awasu West Wogon by-elections, which till date has gone unsanctioned. Ladies and gentlemen, our country stands at a critical juncture of its history. Never have the lives of so many depended on the power of a thumb. Now more than ever, we need the institutions of our democracy to work impartially to deliver an outcome that is fair, transparent, and in the national interest.
I'm pleased to be part of this event that seeks to highlight the importance of peace in our country as we go to the polls on 7th December on Monday. And I thank the conveners for the invitation to be here and say a few words this morning. This is the third time I've participated in this ceremony. The first two as leader of the opposition, and the third as President of the Republic. On both previous occasions, I've held to my part of the Peace Pact, and on this third occasion, as President of the Republic, I will do the same. I've said that we believe in elections, and I'm happy to give my word that we shall accept the verdict of the people of Ghana. Above all, I pledge that the peace, unity, and safety of Ghana will be our primary consideration. May God bless us all in our homeland, Ghana, and make her great and strong.
You're welcome to the program. Now, a clash between supporters of the MPP and NDC at Jomoro in the Western region has led to at least 10 persons being injured. A video making rounds on social media shows people with various degrees of injuries, including cuts to faces and heads and an almost chopped off hand. Well, we'll be speaking to the Western Region Police PRO, DSP Olivia Adiku shortly, but my colleague Ina Thalia Kwanzaa has been following up on this story and joins us with details. Hello, Ina. What exactly led to this clash?
Well, then it's my Jomoro tells me that both supporters of the NPP and the NDC were jubilating. While the NPP was jubilating over the presidency, and the NDC was jubilating over the elected member of parliament, who is an NDC member. And so these two were jubilating on the same strike. Unfortunately, they met in front of the residency of the MP-elect, where her residence is. And this is where these two these supporters from both the NPP and NDC did not understand themselves, which resulted into a fight. My sources tell me that 2 people have been injured with minor injuries.
All right, we'll just go quickly to the police for a confirmation, I beg your pardon, a confirmation of those figures. DSP Olivia Adiku, thank you for joining the program this morning. Are you able to confirm the 2 deaths to us?
Hello?
Hello, DSP.
Yeah, I'm listening.
All right, with the incident that happened at Jomoro, we're just hearing that 2 persons are feared dead. Are you able to confirm that?
2 people
are feared dead.
No, the information we have is that 2 people had minor injuries and they were yesterday evening and discharged.
Just to get some more clarity on this, we've seen a video making rounds and someone has an almost chopped off hand. Are you able to confirm if that video is a reflection of what happened at Jomoro?
No, even this morning, just before I'm speaking to you, I spoke with the district commander. There is no such incident. Apart from the clash that happened yesterday night between the NDC supporters and the MPP supporters, and 2 people from each of the sides, NDC, MPP,
They had minor injuries and they were treated yesterday at Chikobu #1 clinic and they were discharged. This morning, as I speak to you, the district commander has even invited the executives of both parties to a meeting at 11 to talk to their supporters to exercise restraint.
So you're confirming that that video is not a reflection of what happened at Jomoro? Only
yes,
two from each side got injured. But from the police's point of view, what exactly led to the clash?
Yeah, the information I have is that yesterday evening, the supporters of the parliamentary candidate were celebrating the victory of their MP elect. Then MP supporters were also celebrating their victory. And the route they took was nearer to the MP's house. So the two groups clashed around the MP's house area and led to two people getting injured. The police was called in. They got there and they were able to calm them down. A motorbike belonging to an NPP supporter was seized by the NPP supporters, and that one has also been able to retrieve. The police and military are still in the area patrolling. As I said earlier, the two people have been treated and discharged. And this morning, I'm told Bonyere is calm.
Okay. We appreciate your time here. You mentioned just before you leave us that the police and military are still on the ground. What is the police planning to do in order to maintain the peace in the area?
Yeah, I think I indicated to you earlier that the police had invited both the executives of the two parties to a meeting this morning to talk to them, to talk to their parties. They all have the right to celebrate their victory, but they have some perimeters that they have to attend to. And they also have to inform the police so that if they want to go for a victory walk or whatever, the police can provide protection for them so that the two parties do not clash. It doesn't other work for the community itself. So this morning, as I speak to you, I'm waiting for the party executives to also have a start with them.
Thank you very much for your time this morning. That's Western Region Police PRO DSP Olivia Adiku, telling us that those videos making round on social media are not a reflection of what happened at Jomoro. She tells us only minor injuries were recorded and the persons who were injured have been treated and discharged. Let's stay a while on election-related matters. Presidential candidate of the NDC, John Mahama, says the party has started auditing results of the 2020 elections announced by the Electoral Commission, and this will inform their next line of action. Addressing party supporters at their headquarters Thursday night, he said all options are on the table.
The results have allegedly been strangely declared for the MPP, even though the EC chair claims to have left Techiman South out of her declaration. After an audit and review of our pink sheets, and I wish to announce that we have all our pink sheets signed. After an audit and review of our pink sheets for Techiman South, we can confirm to you, ladies and gentlemen, that the NDC won the parliamentary seat as follows. NDC secured 50,417 votes, and NPP secured 49,825 votes. In the Eastern region, the results in the presidential elections, which were collated and signed by all the parties, were not the same ones that were transmitted from the regional Electoral Commission offices to Accra. The padded figures have since been exposed. The Ashanti region provides fundamental problems that require further investigation and a full electoral forensic audit. Evidence gathered across board shows that the aggregates on the summary sheets of some constituencies do not reflect the individual results on the polling station pink sheets.
Mr. Mahama also described the MPP's victory as stolen verdict.
When in 2016, at the end of my first full term as president, I ran for re-election as an incumbent candidate, I respected the will of the people. I conceded, I stepped aside, and I set in motion a peaceful transfer of power because I understood that it was the will of the people. And if we are to progress as a nation, if we are to live up to the inheritance of our history, one for which people have paid the ultimate price, the sacred verdict of the people must be respected. It must be protected. It has been my pledge throughout my time of service as a representative to the good people of Ghana to do exactly that. And that is why I stand before you tonight, unwilling to accept the fictionalized results of a flawed election.
That was the NDC's 2020 presidential candidate, John Dramani Mahama. You're watching News Desk. We'll be back with more this day. Thank you for staying on News Desk, and this is still your election headquarters, and we continue conversations and analysis on the just ended election, and latest figures from the Electoral Commission indicate the New Patriotic Party has won 137 of the 275 seats up for grabs in the next parliament. The NDC, on the other hand, has won 136 seats, with an independent candidate winning the Formula seat. It brings to 274 the seats declared so far, with the winner of Sine West constituency yet to be determined. The latest figures include Techiman South, which was in contention even at the time the EC declared results for the presidential on Wednesday. So how was the Techiman South issue concluded? We've been joined by Director of Electoral Services at the Electoral Commission, Dr. Srebo Kweku. Thank you so much for joining us. Let's start off this way. How was the issue in Techiman South resolved?
Thank you very much, and my regards to our listeners. To the best of my knowledge, the only outstanding result for presidential is Techiman South, and which or without it, the result will be declared because it will not have any effect on who wins the election.
I'm asking about the Techiman South seat, parliamentary seat.
That one I know the returners officers have declared the result. So
there was an issue with one polling station, and where there was alleged to be overvoting there. And as at the time I spoke to our correspondent around the same time on this same program yesterday, he said they had not received certified results. And indeed, your graphics or statement you put out later to indicate who had won parliamentary and presidential indicated Techiman South. So I'm just asking how that issue with overvoting.
What I know is that the outstanding parliamentary seat is the Sine West.
Exactly. So how was the issue in Techiman South solved? How was the issue in Techiman South solved?
Oh, according to the region and the district officer, they have collected the results and declared.
And both parties have signed and agreed to.
The parties agreeing or disagreeing is not the issue. The law says that once the result is collated, then we can declare if the parties are there or not. The parties will come in and state why they don't agree. And that is the next superior officer is mandated to investigate.
And I'm asking if that happened. Did both parties agree, the major parties? The MPP
to the best
and the NDC?
Of my knowledge, it has been declared by the district, and I have not heard of any complaints about it.
Okay, but what exactly is the issue in Sine West now?
The Sine West, from the officers, what they were saying is that at one of the polling stations, when they finish the voting, they will seal the ballot box, fill the necessary forms before they will open and do the counting. So when it was filled, before they will finish their work and open, somebody has taken the box away. The person was chased, and when they got to him, the MPPC had been broken. So the MPP is saying that once it was broken, we should not count it. But we are saying that the Electoral Commission seal was not broken. So it could be counted. So that's what they are discussing, and there's a court injunction on it. Somebody has placed a court injunction on it. So we have to go to the court for the injunction to be lifted, then we can do the count.
And do we know when to expect that?
That one will depend on the court.
Okay. Now, one of the pointers being used by the opposition to discredit the elections is the EC's admission of the mistake in the total vote figures for presidential elections during the chairperson's declaration. How did that happen?
To the best of my knowledge, the vote for each of the candidates remains the same.
Exactly.
They were lifting the total valid vote and misquoted the total vote cast. So the vote for each of the candidates remains the same. The total valid vote plus the rejected ballot will give you the total vote cast. So it was the total vote cast that was quoted instead of the total valid vote, but it did not affect the vote for any of the candidates.
But you understand that this blunder has raised suspicion, especially within the opposition party, that there may have been some massaging of figures.
So we are dealing with actuals, not speculation.
I'm not speculating, sir.
But that you said use the word may. May is speculative.
Okay, but I'm saying to you that this is one of the issues they are raising for discrediting the election.
To the best of my knowledge, the parties at the regional levels, at the national level, we are supposed to collate the national results using the regional result. I know, because the results were fact and I have to take custody of them. So no matter when they come, I photocopy them, give copies to the party reps available. And I know that with the exception of Ekwadonko, GFP, the reps of the 11 candidates were there, and all of them were given all the regional results. And with the exception of Greater Accra and Eastern Region, which was not countersigned by NDC, all the other results were signed. And the law is clear that when we get the result from the region, we should collate them. The law even does not ask them to countersign, but to add to transparency, that's why we ask them to sign. And I also know that with the exception of Eastern Region and voter region, the NDC did not sign the voter regional result. And the NPP did not sign the NDC did not sign the Eastern regional result. And NPP did not sign the voter regional result. Once there were no complaints on the summary of the results, we used them, collated them, and declared the results. Apart from Electoral Commission declaring the results, Codewo and a lot of the media houses have also projected the results, which are similar to our results.
Dr. Kweku,
I think the right thing has been done in line with the law.
All right, Dr. Kweku, in hindsight, would you say that your 24-hour timeline for declaring of results put you under pressure, leading to some of this, the mistakes we are seeing?
Hello?
Hello, Dr. Kweku, can you hear me? Well, we lost him there. I was just asking about that 24-hour timeline the EC, put to declaration of results, and whether that in any way put pressure on them, leading to the mistake, especially with the ones with the total votes figure. But we'll see if we can raise him on the line again. Meanwhile, the Executive Director for the Institute for Democratic Governance, that's IDEC, Dr. Akwete, has been speaking to my colleague Mama Owusu-Abuaji on the AM show, and he's urged feuding parties to be minded by the peace pact signed prior to the December 7 elections. And the Coalition of Domestic Election Observers, CODEO, has dismissed claims of inaccuracies in the Electoral Commission's presidential figures, urging Ghanaians to have confidence in the institution. The NDC is disputing the outcome of the elections, but the acting chairman, Sheikh Arimayao Shaibu, says CODEO's figures correspond with that of what was published by the EC, and they reflect how Ghanaians voted.
CODEO's pre-election and election day observation reports, as well as our PVT data, should give Ghanaians confidence that the results declared by the Electoral Commission reflects how Ghanaians voted in the December 7 presidential polls. Accordingly, CODEO advises the contestants in the presidential elections, their supporters, and general public to place confidence in the official presidential results as declared by the Electoral Commission. We encourage any party or candidate with issues about the presidential results to peacefully resolve these through proper legal and procedural channels. CODEO appeals to Ghanaians to remain calm, law-abiding, and allow the system to work.
Sheikh Shaibu also presented CODEO's own figures on the elections compiled by 1,502 of its observers across the 16 regions.
The data was thoroughly checked for accuracy, internal consistency, and indeed integrity. In general, each candidate's official results closely match the PVT estimate and falls within the estimated confidence of 95% range and the associated margin of error. Also, the PVT ranking of the presidential candidates based on their share of the valid votes received is largely similar to what was put out by the EC. I just give you maybe two examples. If you take the result that was provided by the EC, the presidential one, the EC official results gave the president-elect 51.302%, and our PVT estimate also put it at 50.98%, and so therefore there is some certain closeness in the figure. If you take that of the former president, John Dramani Mahama, that is NDC, the official EC results stood at 47.359%, and that of our estimate stood at 47.66%.
The Observer Group also explained its parallel voter tabulation method cannot go wrong, as it's been tried and tested in previous elections here in Ghana and abroad.
The PVT is an advanced and scientific election observation technique that combines well-established statistical principles and information communication technology, ICT, to observe elections. The PVT involves deploying trained accredited observers to a nationally representative random sample of polling stations. On election day, PVT observers observe the entire polling process and transmit reports about the conduct of the polls and official vote count in real time to a central election observation database using the short message service platform. The PVT technique has been deployed successfully around the world to promote electoral integrity and help defend the rights of citizens to vote and to protect such rights when exercised. The first PVT was conducted in the Philippines in 1986. Since then, the methodology has been employed in election observation in Bulgaria, Chile, Croatia, Guyana, Albania, Bangladesh, Belarus, Indonesia, Georgia, Macedonia, Slovakia, Montenegro, Nicaragua, Panama, Peru, and Ukraine. In Africa, the methodology has been deployed successfully in Madagascar, Malawi, Mozambique, Uganda, Burundi, Sierra Leone, Zambia, Ghana, Nigeria, Zimbabwe, Burkina Faso, Cote d'Ivoire, Kenya, and Tunisia. Unlike pre-election surveys which track voter intentions or exit polls which track voter recollections, the PVT is based on the actual behavior of electorates in an election. In other words, PVT observers do not speak to voters about the choices they made at the polls to produce the outcome of an election. Rather, after observing the entire voting and counting process, PVT observers record the official vote count as announced by election officials at polling stations and rapidly transmit this information to an observation center via coded text message. Consequently, the PVT data is collected directly from the polling stations.
Thank you for staying here on News Desk on your election headquarters, the Joy News channel. Now, the 8th Parliament, which commences in January 2021, will have a lot of new faces. At least 113 out of the 275 members will not be returning to the chamber. Some lost the primaries, others are retiring, and many lost the elections on Monday. The NDC lost 15 and the NPP lost 33 incumbent MPs. About 21 of them are either ministers, ministers of state, or deputy ministers. Notable among them are Deputy Health Minister Dr. Bernard Okoboy, Deputy Communications Minister George Anda, Minister for Fisheries and Aquaculture Elizabeth Afoli-Kwe, Krowo, who is for the Krowo, and Minister for Local Government and Rural Development Hajalima Mahama Nalerudu Gambaga. Now, we have a report on how some of them are taking the news of their defeat.
Former MP for Lejokuku, Dr. Bernard Okoboy, wrote this on his Facebook wall.
I'm grateful to my constituents for the opportunity to serve them in the past 4 years. Congratulations to Ben Aiku, the Lejokuku MP-elect. In all things, we give him thanks.
Former Ewutu Senya West MP George Neyi Anda also wrote this on his Facebook wall.
Dear Jomoro partners, this wasn't the parliamentary results we expected, but I will continue to give thanks to God for how far he has brought us. I also extend congratulations to MP-elect Mrs. Gisela Tete Abotui and her team.
The last message posted by former MP for Tempane, Joseph Pemka, was at 11:43 a.m. on the 8th of December. He wrote,
"My faith in God is stronger after yesterday."
One person who was seeking to enter parliament was candidate for the Ebura Asebu Kwamankese constituency, Felix Ofosukwache. He wrote this on his Facebook wall.
It was so close yet so far for me. Congratulations, Elvis Morris Donko, and better luck to me next time.
Well, government is today rejecting predictions that reduction in their seats in parliament after the December polls will significantly affect efficiency in governance. Minister for Information, Kojo Nkrumah, who addressed the press on Thursday, argued both majority and minority caucuses in parliament agree on most issues brought to the House, and thus the loss of their seats will not impede government business.
If you have a parliament in which the majority has about 138 or 139, by the time the seats we are challenging, 139, 140 are done. It's not the same as having 169, 106. And the president, I think in his address yesterday, was quite clear that the people of Ghana have sent a message to the two leading political parties that there's a need to work together. That means that a lot more middle ground has to be found on the various things that government intends to do. There are other jurisdictions in which you find the executive in the hands of one party and the legislature in the hands of another party, and even they find common ground to do business. Because, mind you, at the end of the day, we are supposed to be in this business in the interest of the people of Ghana. So if the executive is committed, the majority is committed, we believe that the minority will also, or ought also, to be committed to doing business that helps to push the republic forward. Indeed, in Parliament, for those of you who cover Parliament, a lot of the times, 90% of the times, we don't disagree on matters. Business comes to the House, is referred to committees, committee reports come, they are approved. Rarely, one or two issues, then you would find that there's a major debate or a split, and then maybe you have a walkout or something. But if you list the business of the House, you find that it's on rare matters that there's division. And the message is clear that even on those rare matters, we need to work towards some compromise. So, yes, it ought not to be business as usual. I think we can all be clear in saying that. It ought not to be business as usual, but we look forward to working together as we've done in times past, but with a lot more compromise to achieve what's in the best interest of the Republic.
Now, away from elections, UNICEF says the number of children affected by the closure of schools due to COVID-19 keeps soaring globally. It's thus urging governments to prioritize reopening of schools and make classrooms safe for children. The warning is contained in a press release detailing the impact of the pandemic on learning and well-being of children. According to data collected by UNESCO, classrooms for nearly 1 in 5 school children globally, or 320 million, are closed as of December 1, an increase of nearly 90 million from 232 million on November 1. In contrast, the month of October saw the number of school children affected by school closures decrease nearly threefold. UNICEF Global Chief of Education Robert Jenkins said, regardless of all measures taken to safeguard children in school, quote, "We are moving in the wrong direction and doing so very quickly," end quote. The number of school children affected by COVID-19 related school closures soared by 38% in November, placing significant strain on the learning progress and well-being of an additional 90 million students globally. And the Ghana Health Service says it's enhancing its surveillance to deal with possible surge in COVID-19 cases post-2020 general elections. It says it's learning from best practices employed in other countries that organized elections during the pandemic. Speaking at a news conference Thursday, Director General of the Ghana Health Service, Dr. Patrick Kuma Abuaji, disclosed the service will re-engineer its risk communication strategy to whip up compliance to safety protocols.
We are going to observe more keenly. The slightest sign is picked up. We also know where there are potential points where there were large jubilations, where there were queuing, among other things. And so the district there will enhance surveillance to ensure that anybody who reports any similar conditions are quickly picked up and identified. And of course, we intensify our testing in such areas at the least sign that we find. So those are the areas we are talking about. But the most important thing is that if people abide by the protocols now, we will be able to minimize whatever possible surge we have. We have a chart of many countries that had an increase in their COVID situation after election, but there are also many other countries who were able to contain and actually brought it down. Korea is one of the examples, and we are trying to adapt the same mechanism that we are doing. But fortunately, the way the election itself was conducted actually reduced the risk of spread. There were fewer queues, a significant number had masks, at least the ones I visited and those I saw on television. Of course, there were some who were not wearing masks, but we are hoping that this will not be a spike, but we are enhancing surveillance to be able to quickly identify and contain.
I hear you.
You're watching News Desk with me, Bernice Abubedolansa. Coming up shortly, though, Spikey will be joining me with what's happening in the world of technology. Thank you for staying here on News Desk. Now, a future Zoom will allow you to smell the virtual coffee. How our world is changing. I hope this is literal and it means what it is.
Yeah, smelling virtual coffee. So, we have senses that are stimulated with technology. You can hear someone from across the world. You can see someone from across the world, but can you smell their perfume?
No, I can't.
No. Can you
like I'm
hold?
smelling yours,
like,
I can't.
Can you shake their hands?
No.
Yeah, but now Zoom is saying that in future, considering how much they've grown because of the pandemic and everything, they're hoping they're developing technology that will allow you to smell the coffee that person on the other side is drinking, and you can actually have a handshake virtually.
Kobe, how far is this from today?
Well, this is a technology that has actually been explored in times past, and it's actually very, attainable. I think some cinemas experimented it with all their different dimensions where they have a system that can generate certain smells. But I don't think you want to generate every smell. Because, I don't want to hear...
I don't want to smell a war zone, for example.
I prefer a war zone to something other than that. Someone ate a very bad lunch. I don't want to be smelling that.
All right, quickly. So let's look forward to this. I mean, due to COVID-19, we've all seen the importance and how well Zoom is helping facilitate work. But let's see how soon you'll be able to smell that virtual coffee. But to some more, harder news from the world of technology, Italy has fined Apple 10 million euros over iPhone's water resistance claims. And this reminds me of a story of a friend who says, oh, I took my phone into the water because iPhone said it was water resistant, and then it didn't work again.
Yeah, it happened to our very own Kofi Tando. We were out with our phones, and then we put our phones in the water. He put his phone in the water. Next thing you know, it's not working again. And well, Italy says that they're fining Apple for these claims because apparently people are losing their phones because of this. They're putting them in water, and next thing they know, it's broken.
But what did Apple really mean when it said its device, the iPhone, was water resistant?
So apparently it's supposed to be able to sustain itself in water for 4 minutes up to about 30 meters underwater, and then next thing you know, it's dead. And what Apple is not fixing it when it goes underwater. When you bring it for water damage, they're not fixing it, and that seems to be a problem.
So that's deception, isn't it?
Yeah, that's pretty much deception. But I like the fact that the Italian government can actually sue Apple, fine Apple.
Can Ghana government do that?
Which is what I'm concerned about. Other governments should be able to do
because we have a lot of iPhone users here.
But we don't have an Apple store here. We don't have an actual Apple presence in Ghana.
So all the stores we see are what?
They're authorized Apple resellers and dealers.
Oh, I see. All right, now Bitcoin peaks at record high, close to $20,000.
Yeah. That's
good
big.
Or bad news?
Good news for those who have Bitcoins, because then it means that it still has value. So imagine if you bought Bitcoins when it was about $100 and now one cost $20,000. It means you've made $20,000 for every single Bitcoin that you bought. That's a lot of money. You've made about $19,900 extra on a single Bitcoin. So it's good news, it's peaked. The only problem is it's going to cause people to start hoarding Bitcoins again, which is a bad thing because it's supposed to be, imagine if people were hoarding money and they weren't bringing it out for us to spend. Then it looks like there's no money in the system, but it's actually money in the system.
Well, I don't know what this means for people who want to now venture into the Bitcoin, business. There's also the concern about safety, really, because how safe is this? I mean, I know we've had this conversation before, but I can imagine this will cause such a mad rush.
For Bitcoin?
Yeah.
Yes, because it's like when you're holding onto something that's appreciating in value, everyone wants a piece of it. So you're going to have people trying to buy it. A lot more people trying to buy more Bitcoins, and people are going to be hoarding it. But then again, Bitcoins are being used mostly for illegal purposes, in the black market. And what do you call those places? On the internet, where things just
aren't monitored or properly regulated. Dark web.
Yeah, the dark web.
look at your eyes and your smile when you say the dark web. Anyway, we'll leave it here for now, Kobe, but thank you so much. And also during the elections, we were doing a lot of work with social media and digital media. Interesting.
You did good too.
Thank you. That's why we're here. And we'll take a quick breather here on News Desk. But coming up shortly in business, government begins search for transaction advisors for next year's $5 billion Eurobond. Do stay for details of that.
Good morning, time for business. My name is Darryl Kwao. The Finance Ministry has begun the search to appoint transaction advisors for next year's $5 billion Eurobond as well as other bonds. It is therefore inviting qualified and reputable transaction advisors for the various instruments under the program. The instruments for the program include Eurobonds, diaspora bonds, sustainable or green bonds, and the syndicated term bonds. The selected transaction advisors for each instrument shall be required to provide, but not limited to, advisory, guidance, and driving the international capital market funding program process, as well as structuring the documentation of the program. The $5 billion Eurobond will be used to support growth-oriented expenditure in the 2021 budget, conduct liability management, including refinancing domestic debt and a buyback of some selected outstanding Eurobonds. In other news, small and medium-scale enterprises on the African continent are set to benefit from a finance facility to support them under the Continental Free Trade Area. This is part of ongoing discussions between the Secretariat and some African banks, including Standard Bank. Secretary General of the AfCFTA Secretariat, Wemkele Meni, believes this will go a long way to empower more SMEs. Here's more in this report. At the 13th extraordinary session of the African Union Assembly held virtually last week, the African Union Trade Commission announced that there are so far 34 African countries ready to begin trading from January, including Nigeria, which earlier raised concerns about standardization. Some identified challenges of the free trade area include financing for industries and businesses in the member countries and the capacity of SMEs to penetrate into other markets. Responding in his opening remarks at the session, Secretary General Wemkele Meni disclosed that discussions are ongoing to explore the possibilities of collaborating with African banks for a $1 billion trade financing scheme.
We intend to expand our partnerships with the private sector. We have had very fruitful discussions with Zenith Bank about a trade portal and Standard Bank about the possibility of the establishment of a $1 billion trade finance facility, which will be aimed at primarily small, medium enterprises. We will have to explore the possibility of trade finance, and this trade finance facility being jointly underwritten by governments, African banks, and African multilateral institutions.
Mr. Meni also assured that the SME sector will be pivotal in the implementation of the deal, as well as building capacity of women on the continent.
For the AfCFTA to be inclusive and to ensure shared growth across the continent, women, young Africans, small, medium enterprises have to be at the heart of its implementation. In this regard, we shall partner with UNECA, the UNDP, to ensure that the AfCFTA continues to contribute to the achievement of Sustainable Development Goals, Agenda 2030.
The extraordinary session, which was attended virtually by heads of state of the African Union and trade negotiators, was part of final rounds of meetings to conclude negotiations for a successful takeoff in January next year. And that's your business update. Sports is up next.
A week ago, today, we were all, zooming into the election period and focusing on it. We're just easing down a bit, even though there's contention over the results. There's a lot of sporting action to look forward to during this weekend. And George is here to tell us.
Yeah, I'll do it very quickly. Quickly so that you get the idea of what's happening. I want to call it a derby weekend because we have a lot of great derbies behind us. We've got Manchester United versus Manchester City. That will be on Saturday. That's a special derby.
That's one to watch.
Yeah, one to watch. Should be upstairs, downstairs. Manchester United are still struggling to find the real level. Man City will feel that the renaissance is complete, but in these games, anything is possible. In Spain, we've got Atletico Madrid versus Real Madrid. That's the Madrid derby. You'll have to watch that. And there's a little bit of a fight between Bayern Munich and Union Berlin. They also have a derby ongoing. In Ghana, have we got derbies? Not quite yet, but we've got two of our giants looking for their first wins. Asante Kotoko having won since the Ghana Premier League started. Accra Hearts-Football.
How many games gone?
Oh, what do you want? We are just marked day 5. They haven't played some games because they traveled to...
Because you see, the way you make it sound like Hearts and Kotoko haven't won a game since the league started. It's like we are in the middle of the season.
No, but that is just a fact. You haven't won a game. So let's see if Asante Kotoko can win tonight. They play against Legon Cities. We're informed that Asamoah...
Is Asamoah playing?
Yeah, we're informed that Asamoah is starting.
Are people allowed at the stadium?
No,
not yet.
Unfortunately, what you are allowed to do is to listen to commentary on Joy FM. Because
Fantastic.
We've got commentary for you. Asante Kotoko versus Legon Cities. Accra Hearts-Fouk will play against Dreams FC. Hopefully, Asante Kotoko can get a win. I don't quite see a win for Hearts-Fouk, but
why?
Dreams FC is a tight team to play against, and it will be very difficult. Remember that Joseph Esso, who moved from Accra Hearts-Fouk to Dreams FC, is there. He scored goals. And Hearts-Fouk are looking for goals. He may love to score against his former club. That's what makes the weekend special.
All right.
If you like
what time should we join you for the live
6
commentary?
6 p.m.
Tomorrow?
Yes, 6 p.m. I mean, tonight. 6 p.m. tonight.
Oh, okay.
Yes. There's no Ghana Connect. It's football. After the election, let's do football. If you like boxing, there's Anthony Joshua versus Kubrat Pulev. That will be at the London Arena in Wembley. It's a special one. And good news to Formula One fans. Lewis Hamilton is back after surviving COVID-19, and he's going to be right in for Mercedes in the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix. So quite a lot to look forward to, plus special games to come. If I had to mention it for the rest, then Liverpool, Fulham, Chelsea, Everton.
All right. Thank you very much, George. I'm looking forward to hearing you on that Kumasi Asante Kotoko Legon City's game.
Wajani the mix.
So mischievous.
No, Samata is in the mix.
I know he's in the mix, but
it's to go against Asante Kotoko, and wow, I can just imagine.
Well, you know
right?
where to tune in. We are streaming this live on Facebook as
well. We will
the
be live on My Joy Online.
My Joy Online.
MyJoy.com.
All right. Okay. Great. Thank you very much, George.
Always a pleasure.
Right.
And especially when it's a weekend like this, and I know a lot of football investors are putting together the ideas to try and make some money. Good luck, all of you. But let's see how it goes. And I wish you the best of luck. That Atletico Madrid, Real Madrid game, I don't know.
Right.
And your heart is also playing Dreams, so good luck.
The hats you imposed on me. Well, that's how we end this edition of News Desk. We really appreciate your company. There's more news when you log on to myjoyonline.com. Once again, thank you so much for choosing us. From my entire team and myself, we wish you the very best of the rest of the day, and do take care, don't drink and drive. Hope to see you on Monday again, if the Lord permits. I'm Bernice Abubedu Lansa. JoyNews Interactive is next.